Hey guys, GT Machine here. We're gonna do an oil change here on the GT4 for the first time. I'd say last time according to Carfax when I bought it, it was done in December. So I'm gonna get it changed now and make sure we're on a set schedule here. So join me for an oil change. So one thing I like to do is I have this set of the quick jacks. They come in handy really good. I'd say they're definitely worth the $1,200 investment I spent on them. And usually you can pick up deals either from Quick Jacks themselves or I got mine through Home Depot when they were having a sale on them. They do have wheels on them, so it makes it a little easier to use. And they fit the GT4 really nicely. They're easy to work with and everything. And then they also come with 2 sets of blocks. I use the bigger ones for my other cars and then the smaller ones for the GT4, so I can fit it underneath. These are the ones I use here, the small blocks. And then you just line them up with the jacking posts underneath the car. That's one side down, now I'll do the other. And then once you have the block set and the jacks, you just get the hoses, the quick disconnect hoses right here. And you connect one side to the jack. It's pretty simple. They have protection. They cover the connectors, so you don't damage them. And then the other hose just connects to the pump. Once everything's connected, I raise it up a little bit just to catch the car. And then I check it, make sure everything's set right. There's no issues where it's not sitting right to where you need to adjust it. Looks like they're all good, so I'll raise it up in the air. One thing I found easier is through oil change through the air to help you drain the oil out. Go ahead and open up the cap just so you can have gravity help you on the way down. And then this, you could probably sit in your car if you put a rag down, but I don't want to have any issues, so I'll go ahead and set on my toolbox. Once the oil cap's off, I'll go ahead and raise it up the rest of the way, get it all the way up in the air so I can get underneath of it easy. And then once it's all up in the air, I want to make sure the locks catch it, set the jacks down the locks so there's no safety issues. And we'll go ahead and get underneath. So this is pretty much underneath the car right here. There's the engine oil pan. The bolt you want to take out is right here. It's an Allen head bolt. I'll get the size and everything for you. And then also the oil filter is up right there. You want to go ahead and take the cartridge off, and I'll use a special tool to get that off as well. Make sure you don't use like channel locks or anything on it. If you do, if you really have to, just make sure you're careful. But so you can crack the housing and you won't know it, and then you'll find out once you start it up with the oil change, fresh oil in it, and it'll start a leak. All right, here's the tools you want to use. That's I got a snap-on Blue Point cup wrench. It's a 76/14 cup wrench. It's pretty standard. I've used this on other cars as well. 3/8 drive ratchet, a couple extensions. I think I might need a swivel, we'll see. And then a 7mm, an 8mm Allen key for the drain pan bolt. So let's get started. So normally what I do is I like to drain the pan first. It really doesn't matter what you do, with it all being underneath. Let's go ahead and loosen the drain plug. And then this is where you potentially can make a mess. So you want to make sure you have your drain pan underneath. And then I like to have these Scott blue towels handy just in case. And then quickly, once you feel the end of the threads bottom out, I like to keep pressure on here and just quickly jerk it away. That way you make a little mess as possible. Looks like the oil in this was still real clean. About to say it's got a light brown hue to it. So that's pretty good. So it looks like it was changed in December, like Carfax said it was. So that's always a plus. But I don't really know how much to really rely on those Carfaxes, if they're accurate, not accurate. But it's always rather safe than sorry, and the oil change really doesn't cost you that much if you're doing it yourself. So we'll go ahead and let that drain. And then while that's drained, we'll go ahead and change the crush washer on the plug. So pretty much it just pops right off. But sometimes it could be stuck on there. It'll come right off just like this. And if you look at it, you can see like a little beveled edge on it where it actually formed the crush. And we'll slide the new one on there. And then as soon as it's done draining where it's a slow drip, we'll go ahead and put the plug back up on it. And then we'll get to the filter. All right, this thing's been draining for a good bit. Probably should have definitely warmed it up, but just took a little extra to drain all the rest of the oil out. About to say it's probably draining out from the heads. Let's go ahead and put the drain plug back in and get this sealed up. But so you can use a paper towel to clean the oil off, or I like to use brake clean to pretty much make sure it's really cleaned off, so there's no residue. And it's all clean. And now we'll change the oil filter. So. So yeah, you're gonna need a swivel extension to get to the oil filter. You might be able to squeeze it straight down, but the swivel makes it 10 times easier because of the cross member. once you get past the O-ring, it'll come out by hand. And then what some people have done, and what I'm going to do, is place a paper towel in the cross member, so if anything drips, it'll get soaked up. Bring my oil pan close, and then gently unscrew it till it comes loose. It looks like this one, the oil filter got stuck up in the cup. Just pull it out. She comes right out of there. Unfortunately, they make this one a little messy to do. So you get up there, get it started pretty much to where it hits the O-ring, and then you gotta put the tool in there. And then I can take the rag down that caught the oil and the cross member, and then wipe everything down. I'll spray it down as well, just to make sure there's no residue. Move the drain pan out of the way. Get the tool, put it on the cup, and then you just want to spin it till it pretty much stops. And then once it stops there, just give it a little snug, and then it won't come out. You want to over tighten it because you can break it as well. I'll go ahead and get a paper towel, wet it down with some brake clean, and then wipe off the cross member. Make sure there's no residual oil anywhere that could cause a mess. Because with the oil, it'll catch any dirt and all dirt. And I like to wipe everywhere just to make sure there's nothing residual sitting anywhere. Because down the road, it could make it look like the car has a leak, and it really doesn't. It's from your oil change. So that's pretty much it. We'll go ahead and let the car down, get on the top side, and start putting oil in. All right, go ahead and get the car let down so I can go ahead and put oil in. So you want to raise up the jacks, and then once it's all the way up, you can go ahead and kick the locks out on both sides. All you do is pick them up, and then the cam will come down, and it'll let you lower it down completely. So go ahead and lower it down. Just make sure your hydraulic lines are out of the way so the tires don't sit on them when it comes down. This makes it really handy. The pouch has a spout on it, so you can measure out and pour real easy, so you're not making a mess. So according to manual about the oil change, it says it takes 7.5 liters. And we'll double check that with the oil gauge on the dash. I'll fill it with 7.5 and see where we're at. Just be careful with pouring it. It does look like it does back up in the tube, so just make sure you don't overfill it to where it leaks down into the trunk section. Then that'd be a bad deal. And then we'll go ahead and do that until we have 7.5 liters put in. All right, so this is the last one. This is a 2-liter jug, so I put 3 2 liters in, and then this is the last 1.5 liters, which will give us 7.5. And it looks like the cap does have an O-ring on it, so it looks like it does seal down onto the filler section inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe it out, just so there's nothing residual to where nothing can come out. I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall the cap. And then once you hear the click, it's all the way down on there. And then we'll go ahead and start the car. Then we'll check the level out. We got good oil pressure there. That's good. No noises from the engine. Let the oil circulate a little bit, then we'll go ahead and shut it off and check the level. So here's how you check the oil. Just go to the oil measurement screen after the engine's hot. I've added 7.5 quarts, or not quarts, I'm sorry, liters. And it looks like it's sitting right in the middle. I'm gonna have to probably add another full liter. So that would take me up to 8.5 liters. I guess it just really depends on how much you let the pan drain out, where it drains back from the cylinder heads to where how much you're gonna have to add. But it's also a good check to make sure you're full. So this is pretty much what I'm using, one of these. I just want to make sure I don't get the interior dirty. It measures out per liter, which is nice. And then got the mobile one here from Walmart. It comes in a 12 quart jug. About to say it was like 50 bucks. It's super cheap. It's the part number for the filter and the housing in the O-ring. And this is the way it comes in the package. I was looking all over the place. In order to get the filter, if you're buying genuine Porsche, it costs more to buy the filter and then the O-ring for the cartridge housing than it did for this entire assembly. I picked this whole assembly up for, I think it was like $27, and it would have cost me over $30 for just the cartridge and the O-ring, which I thought was a little ridiculous. And then, hey, if you're changing the cartridge every time, it doesn't really matter. And then I'm also saving the one cartridge as just in case, or if people need them, I'll send them out too. About to say somebody cracks it, about to say it's only plastic, there's really nothing to it inside. I think that's just a bypass valve in there. And then I just bought a couple of the drain plug washers as well to have, the crush washers. It was super cheap. All right, thanks for watching. If you like the videos, like and subscribe. I'm gonna be installing all my goodies coming up, this, and then got the old Cobb tune, waiting for my headers and a couple other things.